gotta go. Let's go.
He gotta go too.
I gotta go too.
Great. So time is of the essence.
Yes, it is. Well, we're going to get started here right now. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 14 of the Wrestling Hypothesis podcast for your Saturday, April 18th, 2020. I am the ABA. Joining me, as always, is Richard and Ricardo, who will be joining via one computer.
What's up?
And King Kenny down below me as well.
Hey, what's up, guys? How you doing?
And the first lady of the show, Tara, will not be joining us this week. She's unable to. She's got some errands going on, so we're just going to go at it, all four of us alone. This podcast is available to listen to on various different podcast platforms, such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, Breaker, RadioPublic, Google Podcasts, and YouTube. Give us a subscribe over on our YouTube channel to make sure that you're kept up to date for bonus content, as well as regular episodes such as this one. If you're listening via Apple Podcasts, please be sure to give us a star rating, as well as some thoughts on what you think of our show. You can like our official page over on Facebook to keep up with the latest updates on the show, as well as leaving us a review on there and your thoughts. And lastly, if you haven't done so already, you can check out episodes 1 through 13 using any of the aforementioned platforms, as well as visiting our website, anchor.fm/wrestling-hypothesis. Before we address the elephant in the room and what went down this past Wednesday with all the releases, first we want to get into something that happened this past Thursday. And that is the news that longtime beloved ring announcer Howard Finkel died on Thursday at the age of 69. We're still not sure of the cause, but I know that he was having some trouble getting around due to the amount of weight he put on over the past decade or so. That may have something to do with it, but we're not entirely sure of it. I remember hearing back at WrestleMania 32 in Dallas, Texas, that when he came out to the ring to announce that year's Hall of Fame inductees, which was a shtick for a good while there at a certain point in history, that he had a lot of trouble getting into and out of the ring that night because of how much fatter he got. It even got to the point where multiple people at ringside were trying to get him through the ropes, which, it was some sight to see for the audience in attendance at that night. But, he will be long remembered. He has, if not the most iconic voice in pro wrestling, certainly up there with some of the others. He regularly announced some of the biggest names of pro wrestling over the decades, from the likes of Hogan, Macho Man, Ultimate Warrior, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, The Undertaker, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and many more. And you could argue that every time he added to the aura that those stars brought with them just by the way he introduced them. And that, I feel, honestly, is something that has been long overlooked in today's wrestling landscape. Justin Roberts is great, still going strong over at AEW. Greg Hamilton is pretty damn good at his role, but those are the exceptions. So
There will past, present, or future, it will never, ever be a great ring announcer than Howard Finkel. Period. He has announced, not only, you said wrestlers, but announced so many of the great matches that we've seen over the past years, such as he's ring announced every single Rock and Austin match at WrestleMania. He announced the Montreal Screwjob. He announced many more matches. Like the list is endless for him to announce so many matches. Like some people in today's generation really don't know the amount of love that he has for this business. He was WWE's first ever employee, like very first.
Yeah.
And
that's right, under Vince McMahon, the current Vince McMahon. Yeah.
He ring announced the first WrestleMania, like the very first. From, if I could recall, he ring announced WrestleMania from the first one to like 21 or 22. I don't know.
No, he was there at 23.
He was 23?
No, he was there at 23.
No, he wasn't.
Oh no, I'm thinking no.
Yeah,
no.
You're right. Like 21 or 22. I really don't remember. But like, yeah, like every single wrestler in this business knows who he is, how much respect he has for this business, how much work he puts into the new generation of ring announcers that comes in after him. He helped out Lillian Garcia, Tony Chimel, like you said, Greg Hamilton, and so on and so forth. So in my retrospect, there will never, ever be a great ring announcer better than Howard Finkel.
Yeah, I think that's safe to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, he will be missed. Like, The fact that WWE, honestly, looking back throughout the course of the past few decades, the fact that they haven't brought him back a few more times over in like the 2010s, in the past few years, kind of a shame. But I guess, I don't know, like maybe certain things went on behind the scenes that we weren't too sure of. But yeah, rest in peace, Howard Finkel. He will always go down as one of the greats. With that out of the way, this week, believe me, was not the only newsworthy event that occurred in pro wrestling this past week. As April 15th, 2020, this past Wednesday, people are already calling this one of the darkest days in WWE history, and for good reason, as WWE went ahead and released dozens of their employees, including wrestlers, producers, referees, announcers. No one was safe. And believe me, when I go through the list of the people released, you will see exactly what I mean when I say that. This is due to WWE not wanting to make up for the money they've lost due to this current pandemic we're in currently. So no more money is coming in terms of attendance, as that's not possible right now. And what I've been hearing is that WWE is actually saving up to as much as $4 million a month from going through with these talent cuts. And keep in mind that very recently, that's Linda McMahon, who is running a super PAC supporting President Donald Trump and his reelection, had pledged to spend $18.5 million in the state of Florida. Just so happens to be the same week as the governor of Florida deemed WWE officially as an essential service, which honestly is beyond ridiculous. And call that coincidental all you want, it reeks of bullshit. But we're just going to go through over all the names that as of now have been released or furloughed, as some of the producers were actually told by the company that they would look into rehiring them back once this pandemic dies down and things go back to normal. The list reads as of right now: Lio Rush. Big missed opportunity. You know, Lio Rush really has been one of the greats, one of the more consistent wrestlers and performers over the past 6 or 7 months in WWE. And throughout much of his run, like, he had his fair share of ups and downs. He wasn't always on the greatest of terms with them. He's had his fair share of controversy, especially coming out of WrestleMania last year, when he feels like he had nothing but heat on him all over backstage from the other fellow wrestlers. But, you know, it's a shame. I could see for Lio Rush going to AEW. He could easily get picked up once everything dies down.
No, yeah. I mean, look, this news comes with little to no surprises at all. I mean, when you look at the last couple of years, this company has been synonymous with signing pretty much almost anybody. Like you know that person, you know, that, you know, just, for lack of a better term, fucks everything that moves. Well, that was this company. They hired everything that moves.
Piled so much talent that they could get their hands on. Yeah.
They were hoarding talent.
Yep.
So this news comes, you know, with little to no surprise at all. I mean, it was long overdue, right? And to be quite honest with you, I'm glad, I'm happy for a lot of those people that got released, because for most of them, they're not really doing anything at all anyway, right? And I know it's weird, but the wrestling market works so, like, in different ways, more different ways than any, you know, other regular industry works. If this were a regular industry, obviously you don't want anyone to lose their jobs, but with wrestling, you can kind of sort of go back to the indies, where, you know, the floodgates kind of open, and then you're free to do whatever the hell you want to do. So some of these guys, we'll really see them back in the news, you know, making headlines again. And with a lot of them, you know, I think you know, the opportunity opens up to, you know, New Japan and Ring of Honor to kind of pick up you know, some of those guys, because their brand is up there now. You know, they've been with the WWE for a number of years now. So it'll be very easy for them to make a name for themselves. But some of those guys, other guys, deserve AEW's a knock. Lio Rush is definitely one of them, hands down.
Yeah, Lio Rush is way too talented to not be working at a wrestling promotion with value to it. So he can bring something to the table for sure. But moving, if no one else has anything to say about Leo Rush, we're going to move on to the rest of the list. EC3.
Wait, hold on.
Well, what can I...
Hold up. Y'all two don't have anything to say about Leo Rush.
No. I have something.
Richard said something.
I said something. I said, okay, in terms of the talent, like, it sucks that everyone has lost their jobs because of what's going on and due to the ramifications of the outbreak. But I do agree with Kenny with this though. Some of the talent, actually the majority of the talent, was not being used. Some of the talent that got released is actually a blessing in disguise. For example, EC3,
Yeah.
Mike Kanellis, Carl Anderson, and Luke Gallows. Some of them were actually a good reason. They wanted the release. Mike Kanellis wanted to be.
Whoa. See, time out. Because all of those idiots, right, signed a 5-year deal. So I don't want to hear anything about how they wanted to be released.
I understand that, but this is what they asked for. They got the release. Now they got it.
No. What Kenny is saying is that, like, no. What Kenny is saying is that, like, they can't say that they wanted the release but signed 5-year deals. You sound like
right. You can't say you want your release, right, and then turn around and sign a 5-year deal with the devil.
Like for example,
it was on their own accord. Each and every one of those wrestlers.
Like, you see, like, let's take the Revival for example. They wanted the release more than anybody.
You know why? The Revival got their release? Because they didn't sign a 5-year deal. That's why.
Exactly.
There you go. They sat out, waited out their contracts.
The Revival was the arguably the only set of people that was the only set of people that was smart enough to actually leave in WWE. You look at these names like Leo Rush, EC3, you got Gallows and Anderson, you said Mike Kanellis, whatever. And the majority of the people that got released, they signed pretty much an extension. They signed an extension of staying in WWE, but then feels like hypocrites at the end of the day by wanting to leave. I was like, look, if you wanted to leave, don't sign a 5-year contract. That's the bottom line. That's the bottom line. Like, these niggas sound like complete hypocrites, like, because, like, they thought by signing 5-year contracts, they thought that either A, they were going to be used, or B, get something out of it. They did not turn out to be the case. Turned out they were used for nothing. They were just getting paid just to shut the hell up, just to chill in the back, do catering and stuff like that, and all that.
And to make sure that other promotions don't get their hands on them.
And other promotions, exactly. And make sure no other, exactly what promotions hit them up, like in New Japan or Ring of Honor or AEW.
Abba, can you just read through the list and let's just go by. Yeah, please.
Yeah, of course. We also had Drake Maverick released. He released quite a touching video. I don't know if you guys paid attention to that on social media. You know, he was just tearing up big time. Like, he just, like, it was literally right after he started recording the video, right after he got the call from headquarters.
He'll be fine.
Telling them that he was
about that nigga.
let go.
He'll be fine.
He'll be cool.
He'll be fine.
I mean,
He'll be fine because you know what? Guess what? He's now in the headlines now.
Exactly.
He's now in the headlines now.
That's true.
So
that is also true.
Whoever signs him, it's going to be good for your brand. Either way.
It's
so
a steal.
He'll be fine. I wouldn't go with that.
But hopefully that does happen.
No. What I'm saying is like I know, I feel you, but like in turn possibly like we might see something in Drake that we haven't seen in the past. So that's it could possibly be.
We've seen flashes of how good he is in TNA.
He's saying Drake Maverick might pull something out of his ass, like a top name.
You know?
That's also true.
Look,
for example.
Look. Before you continue, okay, I'm not debating that he won't pull something out of his ass. Okay, I'm saying what my problem is can he be a consistent wrestler? Like, can he be Right. Like, I don't give a, like, if you have to pull something out of your ass, right, that means you're probably not that good. That means that you're, you know, you got that one thing that nobody else has, but that's it. You don't have anything else to offer. You're a one-trick pony, okay? Can he not fall into that category? I'm not sure, but I don't see a consistent wrestler, right? So to me personally, I mean, he is what he is. He ain't gonna change shit. But like I said, his name is in the headlines, okay? So this bodes well for, you know, some up-and-coming promotion that needs, you know, a WWE superstar, an ex-WWE superstar to bolster their brand. And I think he fits into that mold.
Yeah. And it's funny, Maverick, before we move on with the rest of the list and all the names, that's he actually is still, despite being officially released from the company, that he still is part of the company in a way. He is going to be part of this NXT Cruiserweight Championship tournament. WWE allowed him to still partake in it despite getting his receiving his termination papers.
Interesting.
It's interesting. Yeah. So how awkward is it going to be that he is going to work one more match for a company, possibly a few more, then he's not going to come back to it.
At the end of the day, man, he's cashing the check. So I could care less, man. Like this guy, he's gonna go places, man. He's gonna find job. Like he's gonna find someone that will pay him a ton of money. You know, so you know he'll be fine. He'll be fine. He has no sympathy for me whatsoever. Most of these guys don't. Most of these guys will get signed to a contract from a promotion. You know, it's only a matter of time.
Nice too.
Yeah, that's a fair point, Kenny. Fair point. Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. Oh boy, did we touch on these two for a long ass time once we heard that they were released. Yeah, so she may not be here, but Kenny and Tara really got into it with these two and their future and their status and what they have to bring to other companies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Listen, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson have no damn business being in AEW.
They don't.
Okay, zero.
I'm with
no business whatsoever. Okay, and here's why. See, I'm not even gonna compare them to AEW's tag team because that's where some of y'all want them to go. Okay, and quite frankly, let's be real, they're probably gonna end up there. Okay, I'm not stupid. I realize this. Okay, they're friends with Kenny Omega and the Bullet Club and and the Elite and all those guys. They'll probably get it. Most 90% they'll probably get it. So let's just cut to the chase and establish that. Okay? Now, do they deserve to get it? That's where I say no. The reason I say no is this. I'm not going to compare them to AEW's tag team division because I feel that that's unfair. If you've been in the WWE and you've reaped the rewards of that horrible creative division, so to say, right? You know damn well that you can't be at your optimal level, right? If you're under those conditions in the WWE. We've already established that. WWE always fucks up, especially the tag team division. We respect that. So I'm not gonna compare them to, tag teams that have actually, done very well in AEW. That's like that tag team division has done very well throughout the past year. So I'm not gonna compare them to because that's unfair. Different circumstances, right? I think that's fair.
We agree.
I'm gonna compare them to the WWE tag team division. The same division, right, that their peers are in. I'm going to compare them a 4-year span. I'm going to compare a 4-year span, right, like the Revival to the Bar, to the Usos, to the
New Day,
to the New Day, right? I'm going to compare, Lou Gallows and Carl Anderson against those tag teams and see how they stack up because they have been fucked, right? They have been royally fucked by the same creative teams. Okay?
Just like the Revival.
So I feel that, right. So I feel like that comparison is fair. It's a lot more fair. So here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, do you know that Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows, I'm sorry, I'm used to Tara being here, so I said that, ladies and gentlemen. But do you guys know that Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson have never ever been a top three? Even if you argue they were a top three, right? They've always been an afterthought in their own tag team division. Now, mind you, these guys came from New Japan, right? So they were supposed to be hot shots, right? They even got paired with AJ fucking Styles when he was starting. And ladies and gentlemen, I gotta remind you, AJ Styles was kind of good, right? He was. I know. He was kind of good. He was like, he was right. He was kind of like he's a guy. Oh, hey, let me finish. Okay. AJ Styles. I don't know if you guys remember a guy like AJ Styles. I don't know. One of the greatest, WWE champions we've had over the last 10 years, maybe. Right. Like that guy is like a fucking god in the eyes of, wrestling fans, right? So they paired him up with that, and they still couldn't get anyone to give a shit about them. Okay, and then you give them the titles. Okay, that's when you're a title holder in a division. That's the stamp of approval, right? It's supposed to be your coming out party. It's supposed to be the time where you feel alive, right? Do shit, get recognized, right? What did they do as tag team champions?
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing. Now, you can argue, right? Because I'm looking at both sides here, guys. You can argue, well, Kenny, it's a tag team, a division. WWE doesn't give a fuck about the tag team division. They don't care. Oh, really? I argue that is true, but look at what the Usos did. Look at what the Bar did. Look at what
the New Day
did. And tell me, right? And tell me why, for some fucked up reason, why Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson couldn't get to those levels. Now, the Bar, right? The Bar were never recognized as the best tag team of that, but like for a year or so, right? But they were recognized as one of the best, like at least top 5, right?
They were always in discussion, yeah.
Right. They were recognized as not only in the WWE, but in the world. Top 5 in the world. You would put the Bar up there, right? Up there with the Young Bucks, right? You put them up there with the Lucha Bros, right? You put them up there with those guys because they were that legit. Like you got 2, world title, contenders, right? In Cesaro, I don't care what you say. Cesaro's a world title contender.
I agree.
Like this guy.
That's not even a debate.
Okay.
One of the most underrated wrestlers that WWE's ever had.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Like you put those 2 in a team, right? That's almost like having Kenny Omega and Adam Hangman Page, right?
That's
like those guys. Those guys are fucking lethal offensively. There's no stopping that. And you put those 2 together, man, right? So from what I'm seeing, right, I'm arguing that Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, right, comparing them to their peers, because we've always had this notion where the WWE can't book tag team divisions right? But look at what they did with the Usos. Since day one, these guys took over the division. They took over the fucking division, man. They were the staple, man. And then that rivalry they had with the New Day, come on, man, stop it, man. Stop. You telling me that Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows, right, couldn't get over in some way, shape, or form. And listen, the Revival, right? We always knew they were great, but we're not even talking about them right now. The Usos and the New Day, they never had AJ Styles to fall back on. They never had a Hall of Fame caliber player to fall back on, and they still made it, man. And I'm sitting here trying to. I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to figure out what Tara really sees in
Gallows and Anderson,
Lou Gallows and Anderson. Besides them being friends with the Elite.
No,
because I just don't see them.
What I think Tara, what we talked about, Gallows and Anderson being AEW. I think she was saying was that, because I looked over on like what she said and I summarized everything. She was looking at on how they are formatted as wrestlers, pure wrestlers, and put in the AEW system. Now, based on what you said, Kenny, I got no argument here. You're right on the money, no question. Because Kenny is right.
No, he is right.
No, let me say it. Kenny is right about Luke Gallows and Anderson being behind AJ Styles. It goes to show you that if you have a team, shut up. If you have a team backed up by a Hall of Famer, and you take out that Hall of Famer without with those two significant others,
who do you have?
It shows how the value that team really is when they are by themselves. It was like Gallows and Anderson didn't know what they were doing in WWE without AJ Styles. Right now, what Tara was alluding to, she was going back to their roots in New Japan Pro Wrestling and how dominant they were over there.
They were.
But I was like, after I looked about what she said, I was like, yo, sis, it's 2020. That was like, how long ago was that when they were in New Japan?
5 years ago.
5 years ago, right? So we're talking about half a decade that they were, as at one point, the best team in the world. We're talking about at the time when Gallows and Anderson was better than the Young Bucks, better than the Usos, better than the New Day at that time, right?
They came to WWE.
They came to WWE and they got shitted on. They got shitted on. So like, I would say that Tara's point is low-key weak right now due to the relevance of Luke Gallows and Anderson and everything. I was like, don't get me wrong, I fucked with Luke Gallows and Anderson because I personally like them. But I was like, yo, they haven't done anything recently. And to what Kenny said, they won the tag team titles last year, right? They won tag team titles last year, but it was no significant challenger to face them last year.
That's because Raw does not have a tag team division.
Exactly.
Give a priority to the tag team division.
Yeah, I want to ask you a question, Richard. Do Raw talent? I mean,
does Raw?
You know how SmackDown handled the New Day, the Bar, and the Usos?
Yes.
Are there talents in terms of how to handle the tag teams different from Raw, or is it the same thing?
No, it's different from Raw now because.
No, I'm talking about at the time.
Oh, that last year.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Was it the same? Or was it different?
No, because literally all the top teams, and like I'm looking at WWE as a whole, all the top teams from the main roster was on SmackDown. There was not one top team on Raw, not one. I'm not even counting the Viking Raiders. I'm not even counting them.
Raiders are trash.
There's not one team on.
Are they really?
Okay. You're saying the Viking Raiders are trash in the ring? If you say in the ring, you're a dumbass.
No. NXT, they were fire. In Raw, they're trash.
But Ricardo, that's my point.
That's the tail of the tape every year.
Exactly. Which is why,
every
NXT to the main roster is a demotion. But anyway, that's besides the point. That's what the main teams from the main roster right now is on SmackDown, not Raw. Raw, give me like 2 teams like right now. That's actually relevant to see.
I don't know.
Exactly. On SmackDown, I got Miz and Morrison, I got the Usos, I got the New Day.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Did you just say Miz and Morrison?
No, but if you want to.
I mean, yeah, I know. They're being featured, and they're actually a team. So yeah,
they're actually a team.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Street Profits, God help us all. Seriously. Everything that Kenny said,
look.
I want money.
Look. one of the things that people like to poke holes in, and they will poke holes in my argument, right, about Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, is that they were on Raw, right, and not SmackDown, so they couldn't get a chance to shine, right? But if you, ladies and gentlemen, if you are in a tag division that is non-existence, what should your mentality be? Your mentality should be, we're the tag champs, right? And we're going to build this shit from the ground up.
There you go.
That should be your mentality.
That's key right there.
Just because you have the title doesn't mean that you stop working.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is a huge component in why Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson didn't work.
You would say they got lazy.
They listen.
Titles.
Listen, they could have released the Viking Raiders. Why didn't they? Like, think about that for a minute. Why didn't they? Like, the Viking Raiders are even less relevant because, listen, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, they were on WrestleMania. In case you didn't notice. Who the fuck are the Viking Raiders to Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson?
I saw BJ win.
So why didn't the WWE go ahead and release Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson? Think about that for a minute. Might it be because, I don't know, complacency took over? Might it be because they're just looking for their next check?
Possibly.
It's important to keep in mind. It's important to keep in mind, though, that these are not all the releases. There could be many more to come. I mean, I'm hearing reports of them looking to go towards 100 releases of their employees. That's what I heard.
He is next, and that's a big problem.
Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson are going to and one more thing that I forgot to mention, right? The Revival. The Revival, right? When you notice, like, the Revival left on their own accord, right?
More power.
That is a team, right? Right. That is a team that you say that, want to be something. That's a team that you say, okay, yeah, they took matters into their own hands, waited for their contracts to be over, and did something about it. With Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, you know what they did once the contract was over? Take a guess.
They're chilling.
Oh, no. They signed a big, fat 5-year deal. How's that looking now?
Their argument doesn't stand anymore.
Hey, man, Listen. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. They're going to AEW, but here's the news flash. AEW's tag team division is a whole nother ball game.
For real.
And with Gallows and Anderson coming in, man, they're not like the top 4 teams. When you look at the top 4 teams, you can't even put them up there.
But it is.
You really can't.
And guess what? The Revival's coming, right? We're all anticipating that the Revival's coming. So guess what?
They have a better shot. Whoa. The Revival has a better shot.
Whoa. Calm down. I'm not finished. We're all anticipating the Revival will come into AEW. That's team number 5, the Revival. The Revival are better than Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. They are. Watch the tape. Watch the tape. So they're not even in the top 5 best team if the Revival come in. So where do you put them?
No, bro. You
if they're in AEW, if they're in AEW, where do you put them? You can't put them in the top 5.
They gotta work from the ground up. And plus, in terms of Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, people say they might go to AEW. Let me say something like right now. They're not going to compete until mid-July because every single person that they release has a 90-day no-compete.
But let me ask you something. You said they have to compete from the bottom up.
Do we know for sure about that?
No.
But hold up. But hold up though. Besides the 90-day, because we all anticipate that they'll put that in their contract anyway upon release. Do you really see, like, at this stage in their career, right? Like if you sign a 5-year deal at this stage in your career, if you're Lou Gallows and Carl Anderson, you're saying there's nothing, right? There's nothing else that we have to prove anymore. Right now, we're at the stage where we don't have to go to the indies and grind anymore, right? We don't have to do that anymore. We can sit here, collect our checks, make our money, take care of our families, and retire. And that's perfectly fine. But what happens when a company releases you? What, you go to AEW? Okay. Now, if you still hold that same energy, right, that you say, okay, all right, we don't need to grind anymore, guess what? What are the likelihood of you climbing that ladder again? You know? Acting like you're hungry, reaching for the brass ring. What are the chances that you actually do that? What is their willingness to be able to go out and say, okay, well, listen, we're hungry again. You know, we want to be we want to be the best in the world. Not while Kenny Omega and Adam Hangman Page are champion. Not while the Revival is there, because the Revival are hungry. They didn't sign a 5-year deal. They're hungry. They didn't want money. They wanted to be fucking stars. Best friends with Orange Cassidy. Freshly squeezed. You know? Like, the list goes on and on and on, man. Like, these teams are legit. They don't fuck around. They're not the New Day and the Usos. No disrespect to the New Day and the Usos. But this is on a whole nother level.
Yeah.
That was Little League. That was the G League, man. Now this is the fucking main event, man. This is pro. So what are the chances? Like, do you actually think these guys will be fresh and hungry and ready to go? Or do you actually think, oh, well, you know, it's another day at the office. I'm just here to collect the check and go home.
Well, you could tell that Gallows and Anderson wants the money more than the wrestling. You could tell because like they got so much downtime in WWE on multiple occasions, even when they were champions. Like they just collect the check, pretty much basically what you say. They pretty much collect the check, done what they have to do, and just go home. But like if they go to AEW,
like,
they will have to start from
between you.
Yeah, exactly. They'll have to start from
like
jump.
You three. Did you care? Did you care when they were champion? Any of y'all three?
No.
Did y'all care?
Not a
when they were
single
champion?
bit. Not a single bit, no.
Nope.
All right then. Oh man.
Like, they weren't incredible as a team when they were champion.
And get this. Are you looking forward to seeing them as the AEW tag team champions right now?
No.
Oh no.
Well, guess what? You're looking forward to the Revival being tag champs, right?
Yes. I'll fucks with the Revival.
I'll give you that.
See? There you go. And get this. The Revival had even worse luck than Lou Gallows and Carl Anderson did. And you're still looking forward to the Revival having an impact on AEW than Gallows and Anderson. I wonder why that is.
There you go. All fair points, guys. But yeah, like with every other release, only time will tell. But what we've seen up to this point, well, not looking good for their momentum right now. So we'll see what happens with Gallows and Anderson. But moving on to the list here, Kurt Hawkins. Who cares? Right? Eric Young. Deadweight.
Oh man. Listen, back to the indies for those guys, man. What can I say? I got nothing more to say about that.
Yep.
Back to the indies.
Yep. No Way Jose. Same for him. You could say.
I hate that.
Mike and Maria Kanellis.
All right, so
Mike and Maria Kanellis is
Bye-bye.
interesting because
Bye-bye.
they have they are in a similar boat to Gallows and Anderson last year when they decided to re-sign for 5 more years. For $500,000.
Yep.
And then guess what happened right after they re-signed their contracts with WWE?
He wanted
Maria went on maternity leave. They said, we're pregnant. They got their money. They went on leave.
Yep.
And just like that,
Exactly.
they got what they wanted.
Yep. And you know what, man? It these kind of news makes me laugh, man. It does, man. Because when you go somewhere, and this is a lesson to everyone out there, when you go somewhere, never be complacent. Never. If you give them a reason to release you, right? Like I'll say this. Doing nothing is worse than anything that you can, I don't want to eat my own words here. Doing nothing is even worse than not doing anything. Well, obviously,
it's the same thing.
It's worse, right? It's the same thing, but most of these guys have one thing in common, man. They did absolutely nothing.
Wait. I think I know what you're going to say. Doing nothing is worse than doing little of something.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
Makes sense.
Okay. And that's what I mean. Like, most of these guys did nothing. They just hung out in Titus Catering, right? And moved to the next city.
I couldn't stand when Maria came back.
Wait.
Like,
is Titus still there?
Yeah.
Titus O'Neil's still there. Titus still there. There could be some truth to Titus Catering over there.
Oh shit!
There could be some truth. He is valuable.
If you cut out multiple talent, and the one guy in Titus O'Neil who doesn't wrestle anymore, by the way, is still there, you're doing something wrong.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
Yeah, maybe they want to. Maybe they're holding on to him because he has PR value. Maybe that's it.
Exactly. He's a brand ambassador, and he's doing something.
He's a good one too.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like
a lot of charity work for WWE, like a lot.
Yeah. So to me personally, like all of those guys that you saw getting released yesterday, man, they didn't do shit. They didn't do shit. They didn't do anything. And there's no a value there. Like there's no sentimental value there for the company to hold them.
Exactly.
You know?
But Titus O'Neil, you can argue, has some value to bringing the company some.
He has sentimental value.
In terms of how he has sentimental value. Yeah.
He has sentimental value, and that's the worst kind of value to let go. You don't like if you hold something so dear to your heart, you don't want to let that go.
Exactly.
You know, and if it's monetary value that you have, you want to let that go. And most of these guys have monetary value, right? Like, you want to get them out because, I mean, you're saving $4 million a month. Like, that's ridiculous. Releasing all these guys, you're saving $4 million a month. Damn, that's crazy, man. That's crazy to even think about, man.
Each of these people that we just talked about that got released lost their credibility by far.
I don't think so.
No. Hold on. Okay.
I don't know about that.
No.
But
Look,
go
Eric
on.
Young did. Yes. Who? Eric Young, he got released, right?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he did.
Lost credibility. Who else got released?
Wait a minute. Hold on. How did he lose how did Eric Young, an irrelevant guy, lose credibility when he had none to begin with?
They thought by bringing in people like Eric Young and others from other companies, they thought, because remember when I was hyped when Eric Young signed with WWE, right? Because at the time I was a fan.
Everybody was.
Right?
Everybody was.
But then, because when I found out when he was in NXT, I thought, I'm not going to lie to you, I thought at one point he was going to be world champion, right? But like, since like he wasn't being used to some degree in NXT, and then when he got to the main roster, he ultimately wasn't being used. WWE devalued his credibility and made him obviously they cut him. Right? So if he tries to sign with any other wrestling brand, that wrestling brand itself would think about like, why am I signing this guy?
You're wrong.
What?
Okay.
How?
You're saying that Eric Young didn't have credibility in WWE.
No, I said he lost.
He lost it in WWE, and then you're saying if he goes to another wrestling company, the wrestling company is going to say to him, "Oh, why am I hiring this guy if he didn't do nothing in WWE?" That's where you're wrong. Because
you're wrong. You're definitely wrong.
No, you're definitely wrong.
But you brought up Luke Gallows and Anderson.
different circumstances.
Hold up.
Gallows and Anderson, it's different with them because we're talking about whether or not they still have the drive and the passion.
Right. And
they still maintain it
hold
within them. Eric Young, we're talking about something else.
Listen, when you're talking about AEW, you're talking about, the next best thing. Okay? AEW is a professional, it's recognized as a professional sports league. Mm-hmm. So, we're not talking about Ring of Honor here or, any other or New Japan, right? Like if you're so adamant on making a name for yourself, why not go back home to New Japan where you made a name for yourself, right?
Exactly. That's what Gallows and Anderson are doing right now.
What do you mean they're going back to New Japan?
Well, I don't know.
No.
Wait, don't know.
Gallows and Anderson put up a video on Twitter about going back to Japan. They said this around the time when they first got released. So you cannot say that, just because that they got released from WWE, why am I signing this guy? Why am I signing
I said Eric Young.
Yeah, but you compared Eric Young to Gallows and Anderson. And I was saying different circumstances.
Yeah.
So Eric Young, look. The difference is Eric Young didn't have a chance, right? He didn't have it. Like he never got a chance to
shine.
To really, right. Like with Gallows and Anderson, they were tag champs. So they had that chance. People just didn't give a shit about them, right? But with Eric Young, he never had a chance to lose any credibility whatsoever, right? So I mean, if I were a wrestling promotion like Ring of Honor or somebody else that's trying to establish, my brand as a wrestling promotion, I would sign Eric Young.
Hands down.
I would too.
I would, because guy never got a shot. You don't know what he has. You don't know what he has. But with Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, there's a sample size there. We know what they can do. We've seen them. Gallows can barely keep up with the Undertaker. and that's a guy, and that's a guy that I expect to go keep up with Kenny Omega and had him Hangman Page. Fuck no.
Like imagine, like I'm just going out there. Imagine if Ring of Honor picks up Eric Young. Instantly, you can make him a top name. That's what they did to Jay Lethal after Jay Lethal left TNA.
Maybe not necessarily a top name, but more so like a gatekeeper kind of role. Because you got to realize something. Ewok is closer to the end of his career.
He's a mid card.
No. Hear me out. I just feel that at this stage in his career, EY is closer to the end of his career than he is at the beginning. He's pushing. I think if not, I don't know if he's already 40, but I think he's pushing near 40. So I don't think there's really a big role, a significant role at this stage in his career, other than to put the younger talent over.
Hey, listen, man. If Jericho can do it, man, who knows? But Jericho's
I'll give you that. Jericho's an exception to
Jericho.
This.
Yeah, Jericho's it's another monster. But hey, listen, if Jericho can do it, man, why not? I mean, Eric Young, the best thing that's working for him is that he hasn't been used, okay? So he's maybe a little bit fresher than most 40-year-olds at this stage of his career.
That is true.
Who knows?
Yeah. We'll see what happens with Eric Young.
Yep.
But continuing on here, Heath Slater.
No.
But keep in mind that it's noteworthy that Heath Slater, when they did out of the whole
I'm cutting you off right there. I'm not listening to Heath Slater. Get to the next person.
No, I just find it interesting
Nexus?
the Nexus, out of all the Nexus members who stuck around, Heath Slater was the last one that has been let go out of all of them.
Wow, what a great accomplishment. You know what? If there was an award for the last member to leave, the WWE in Nexus, it go to Heath Slater.
No, I'll tell you that.
Okay, well, we're going to move right along here because you guys, there's not much to say about Heath Slater, to be fair. Rusev, also been released. And this is a huge shame, but
Rusev
at the same time,
it was truly sad.
Yeah, but at the
same time, you're happy for the guy. He could have accomplished so much more in WWE. He had the crowd support. He had the charisma. He was a pretty damn good wrestler with most he had pretty damn good matches with almost everybody he was in the ring with, and he just brought it. He had a shit ton of personality that was sorely needed in a lot of the main roster talent. So it's a shame that they let Rusev go. The Rusev Day gimmick was such a slam dunk, such a home run, that the fact that they decided to hose it down because, it wasn't in the works. It was something Vince said, it's not something I planned out. So let's get rid of it.
Right. Exactly.
It's a shame.
It's not his idea. That's why. But Rusev is definitely someone I got my eye on, man. Like, I don't know, because with Rusev it's kind of tricky, right?
Yeah.
Like, I have no recollection. Do you guys have any recollection of Rusev being in the independent scene whatsoever? Because I don't know.
No,
I don't think so. I think he started
Right.
off in NXT.
NXT, right?
NXT.
Yeah. So like this is a guy that's, for the first time in his career, at least as well as we know, is a free agent. Like,
Exactly.
that's scary. Like, I would never have pictured Rusev in an AEW ring, let alone like Ring of Honor or New Japan. Like, I never ever pictured him there, but he needs a change of scenery, and the best thing for him right now,
Really does.
I would say go to AEW, man. Like, Rusev in AEW is something that I never would have imagined, not even in a million years. And we're getting to see one of the best athletes in the business today,
True.
be himself again.
Yeah. Yeah.
What would you put him?
But I thought
World title or mid card?
Oh, definitely.
I would have him.
Definitely mid card. Definitely mid card.
I would say mid card, but he would be flirting with the main event scene.
No. That is true. But with a guy like that, you can't let him flirt with the main event, scene too soon.
I'm saying with in due time, once he catches on with the promotion and the fans there.
Yeah, no, definitely.
When he gets
in due time.
then go to the main event.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rusev had something. He was one of the total packages in a way.
No, he has something.
He has it, bro. He has it.
He has it.
Yeah.
He has it in his fucking, palm of his hand.
Palm of his hand. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Like,
and I will note. Go ahead, Ricardo.
Oh, Rusev has everything. He just needs a location where he could just let loose.
That's true. And think about this: he was great in WWE of all places. So imagine how he would fare at a company like AEW.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's pretty interesting to think about.
I will say that's what makes me excited about the Revival and Rusev. Like, I'm most excited about those two, man. Like, these guys can go, and they got 5 years left, man. Like, well, not even 5 years, more like 10. Whatever they want.
10, yeah.
Rusev is 35.
Right. Yeah. Like, this guy can go, man. He can definitely
That's so
go.
True. Exactly. I will say though, I do find it interesting how Rusev got his termination papers, but not Lana.
Yeah, I mean, because Lana. Honestly, I think that's it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Because with the thing that they're doing with Lana right now,
it's not working.
Well, but I feel like they'll probably just end up humiliating her even more than they've already have, because her husband is not there, and and I don't know, man. I'm just concerned for Rusev because that might. This is the kind of thing that causes rifts between spouses, especially when there's another guy involved, right? So you have Bobby Lashley being involved with Lana, right?
Although I did hear that Rusev say that he does trust Lana in the storyline with Bobby Lashley.
Obviously, no. Obviously, he does. Obviously, he does. But still, you can't.
Anything can happen, right?
There's no way to write this, man. Would you be okay with your wife, doing that with another guy, even though it's just acting? I don't know. To me, personally speaking, the way I see it is that there's acting and then there's WWE.
Yeah.
And I don't,
or just pro wrestling in general,
or just pro wrestling, right? And I just don't know where to draw the line. So I will leave that up to Lana and Bobby Lashley.
It's fucking
Vince and
crazy.
but I just don't see where the line is.
Yo, it's fucking crazy that WWE has the potential to fucking split these niggas up for good. Like, that's what's crazy. I'm like, it wasn't because of you. It wasn't because of me. It was WWE that made us divorce. Like,
yeah, no, and it kind of goes back to that Chris Benoit story thing, man.
With Kevin Sullivan and Nancy. Yep.
Yeah, like that to me. I'm like, it's crazy because at that point I've never heard of a case like that before until I heard it, right? And for the viewers watching, if you didn't watch the Chris Benoit documentary, you should definitely go and check it out.
Fantastic stuff.
Yeah. But hopefully
we're not going to see. We're not going to. Yeah, hopefully, let's hope for the best for everyone involved. Moving down the list here, we have Sarah Logan. Who cares? We also had Primo Epico Cologne. I was surprised that they were still with the company.
Next.
They're still with the company. Goodbye.
Yep. Eric Rowan. No use for him.
Interesting. That one's interesting. I don't have anything to say on that, but I just find it interesting.
Oh, yeah. He's a sleeper, bro? Possibly? He's a sleeper? Okay. All right.
I kind of see where Kenny's
No, so do I.
Yeah. Aiden English. Whatever. He wasn't really doing much in terms of in ring the past few years, so it's whatever. Maybe he'll go back to the Indies. He'll do his thing. We'll see. We'll see if that's still there for him. Yeah. We had some NXT releases too. Deonna Purrazzo, which is a shame because I actually do like her in the ring. I felt like she could have been something, but she'll ply her trade. She'll be something to another company.
Mm-hmm. The NXT ones are really. I feel like they have a lot more room to grow.
For sure. So, it just won't be with WWE.
Right.
Yeah. Some other names here. Alexander Jakesic from the Performance Center.
Who's that?
I have no idea who that is as well.
Let's just keep going on. Go on.
Yeah, we also had Mike Chioda. Long-time referee for WWE.
That one,
31 since 1989. This man was employed by
That's
WWE.
the OG.
That I was really upset. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm not upset.
This just goes to show you.
But yeah, go on, man. Go on.
I mean, this just goes to show that there is no fucking loyalty with anyone in this company. Big time. Like, we had a guy who was around since 1989, has been considered one of the best referees of all time. But he is not. But I guess Vince didn't bother to try to save him.
I mean, my thing is, if he's getting paid more than any other referee in wrestling history, I don't know, man. That's like, to release him, it would have to be because of the money rather than anything else. I agree. Like a guy like that, like you just don't. I mean, I'm pretty sure he didn't take the decision lightly. But I don't know the details between what the contract was or what what the process was. But yeah, I don't know.
I think they're gonna re-sign him. I have a feeling they're gonna re-sign him. But also
to bring it back once everything goes back to normal.
People that got released were also furloughed. They said that.
That's also true. Mike Chioda.
I think he's coming back. I think he's coming back. He could be furloughed.
Yeah, could be.
Because even Vince knows that's somebody you don't let go. For real.
Well, Vince is stupid, but he's not that stupid. But
hey, don't put it past him.
Yeah, don't put it past Vince. Yeah. Don't put it past Vinnie Mac. So, Kurt Angle has been released. I could see him. I don't think he'll be gone for too long. I honestly think they'll bring him back.
No. I looked at this. He's actually released. He's not furloughed. He's released.
He's done.
Goodbye.
He's done.
Goodbye. We'll bring him in for some anniversary episodes. But other than that,
that's perfect. Just right there. But he's good.
Yeah, some other names from the producer side of things. Lance Storm has been released. Mike Rotunda, formerly IRS. Bray Wyatt, The Fiend's dad. Sarah Stock, Fit Finley, Shane Helms, the Hurricane, Pat Buck, Sean Devari, Scott Armstrong, Andrea Listenberger. And I bring this up because she was actually a former creative writer behind the scenes, I should say. And it was interesting because she was the one who was behind the Otis Mandy Rose storyline heading into WrestleMania this year, which was one of the best storylines heading into the show.
One of the best storylines heading into Mania. No joke.
Yeah. So it's a shame they let her go. But, you know, it is what it is. More names have been revealed since. Those were just the names that were released on Wednesday initially, with a few more NXT talent announced just yesterday on Friday. Those names include Taynara Conti, who we've seen on NXT TV over the years of a handful of times. Tino Sabatelli, which is a shame because he had a great look from the few times we've seen him a few years back. Cesar Bononi, and Mars Wang, who we've never seen on NXT TV. So I can't really speak about him too much. And we've also heard unconfirmed reports that Cassius Ohno may have been quietly released from the company, but nobody's really sure about him as of right now.
Yeah, let's just keep going, man. I got nothing to say.
Yeah, but that is pretty much the list as of right now on the release talent stands right now. It really is a huge shame that so many people were given the boot here. You know, it is what it is, but you know, you never want to see this kind of stuff happen to anybody, especially if it was something they were passionate about and it was everything they wanted to be as a career. But you know, it's not the end. There's always light at the end of the tunnel. There's a good chance that these people can be picked up by other promotions and other companies and make do there. So you never know. So hopefully they will be able to land on their feet and do well somewhere else. I doubt AEW is higher talent at this very moment. But once this whole thing blows over, like we said earlier, that'll definitely happen for at least a handful of them.
They would sign the Revival in Rusev. That's it.
I mean, you could say they'll sign Gallows and Anderson too.
Yeah, I could see that happening. I'll be shocked if they don't actually.
But I think New Japan would be better for them, just because that's where they made their stamp. It'd be nice to return home and then gain that stamp of approval to see that oh shit, maybe they actually have something.
Pretty much.
Because right now you're going to the eye of the storm. If you're the Gallows and Anderson, you're going into the eye of the storm. If you're going to AEW, so anyway, please continue.
Yeah, AEW's roster talent pool will probably look drastic, somewhat different, a bit more loaded a few months from now, hopefully. But that'll do it for episode 14 of Wrestling Hypothesis. There wasn't a whole lot going on this week, honestly. So thank you guys for checking out the show. Like I said, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, please, to make sure that you are kept up to date on all the bonus content, such as this kind of, and regular episodes as well, I should say. Until then, be well, stay safe for next week's episode 15 of the show. Be well, stay safe, and take care, guys.
Yeah.
Take care.
Take care. Later.